Imagine you're standing in a crowded room, and suddenly there's a rushing wind that fills the entire space. Flames of fire appear above the heads of everyone around you, and they begin to speak in languages you've never heard before. This was the scene on the day of Pentecost, a pivotal moment in the history of Christianity. Welcome to the third video in our series leading up to Pentecost. In the previous video, we talked about how the disciples gathered in prayer and sought God's guidance. Now, we'll dive into the Pentecost story, exploring what happened on that day and what it means for us today. The Pentecost story found in Acts 2:1-13 is a powerful moment in the history of Christianity. The events take place in Jerusalem, where the disciples had gathered as Jesus had instructed them before his ascension. Suddenly, a sound like the blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. The significance of the wind is not lost on Bible readers as in the Old Testament. The Holy Spirit is often associated with wind, as you can read in Ezekiel 37:9-10. Then he said to me, "Prophesy to the breath, prophesy, Son of man, and say to it, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Come, breathe from the four winds and breathe into these slain, that they may live." So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath entered them. They came to life and stood up on their feet, a vast army. Then tongues of fire appeared and rested on each of them, an image that reminds us of the burning bush that Moses encountered in Exodus 3:2. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. The Holy Spirit fills them, and they began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit enabled them. This miraculous ability to speak in other languages allowed the disciples to spread the gospel to people of all nations, and was a fulfillment of Jesus' command to make disciples of all nations, as you can read in Matthew 28:19. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit. The crowd that gathered was amazed and confused by what they were seeing and hearing. The disciples were speaking in languages they had never learned before, yet each person in the crowd was able to understand them in their own language. Some scoffed and accused the disciples of being drunk, but others were deeply moved and wondered what it all meant. This was a pivotal moment in the history of Christianity because it marked the beginning of the church's mission to spread the gospel to people of all nations. The disciples were empowered by the Holy Spirit to be witnesses of Christ, to share the good news of salvation with everyone they met. Today, this event is still celebrated as the birth of the Christian church and serves as a reminder of the Holy Spirit's power and presence in the lives of believers. As we think about the Pentecost story, we can see how the Holy Spirit can transform our lives in incredible ways. Just like the disciples were filled with the Holy Spirit and given new abilities, we too can experience the same kind of transformation. But what about you? What gifts has God given you? Are you using them to make a positive impact in the world? It's important to remember that we are all uniquely gifted and equipped to do something amazing for God's kingdom. Don't think too little of yourself. Big or small, impact to God, they are all just as important. Whatever impact you have, it matters. Take a moment to ask the Holy Spirit to reveal your gifts to you. It's not always easy to recognize our own talents and strengths, but with the Holy Spirit's help, we can discover the ways in which we can serve God best. And don't forget to ask for courage and boldness to step out and use those gifts for His glory. So, let's embrace the transformative power of the Holy Spirit and use our gifts to make a difference in the world around us. In conclusion, the Pentecost story is a powerful reminder of the Holy Spirit's transformative power in our lives. Through the Holy Spirit, we are empowered to be witnesses of Christ and to fulfill God's purpose for our lives. As we prepare for Pentecost, let's ask the Holy Spirit to fill us as anew and equip us for the work He has prepared for us. Join me in the next video as we'll discover Bible verses throughout the Bible about Pentecost. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe for the next parts of the series, and may God bless you.